Hello and welcome to the BlockSolid podcast, where we talk about the evolution of the property market, the blockchain technologies, and other tech that enhances and revolutionizes the world of real estate and assets as we know it, and how we, the owners, the buyers, the renters, the investors, and the entrepreneurs can benefit from it all. I'm Yael Tamar, CEO and co-founder of SolidBlock, pioneer in real estate tokenization, and I'd like to welcome Irina Karagyaur as a special guest on today's episode. Hi, Irina, how are you doing?
Hello, Yael. Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to join you on the podcast. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to have you on and talk to you about your platform, Unique Network, where you help creators to take value or to create value from their NFTs, to sell, to create different apps on top of your ecosystem. So we'll talk about all of that and also your role at FIBREE and your experience and what led you to this startup.
Great. Super exciting to share what we've built and what we've been up to and where the NFT space is heading to.
Amazing. So tell me a little more. Let's start with Unique Network. Tell me more about what you do and what your vision is.
Right. So Unique Network is an infrastructure. We are the first commercial application and first parachain in Polkadot ecosystem. The story of the Unique Network began back in 2019 when our founder, Alex Mitrovic, and his co-founder and our CTO, Greg Zaitsev, began experimenting with different blockchains. They came across Substrate framework and Polkadot ecosystem, and they concluded that this is the best framework to create the most advanced NFT ecosystem and infrastructure. So they participated in the first Polkadot hackathon. Hakusama won the first prize as well as the community special prize and created the first NFT collection Polkadot called Substrate, which is a tribute to CryptoPunks. And shortly after that, the community needed trading environment for the NFTs. So the team has created the first ever commercial application, which is an NFT marketplace in Polkadot. So Unique Network as a Substrate standalone chain had already some time up and running. Then I joined the team in April 2021 to help with business development. So we launched Kusama Polkadot. We went for the crowd loan on Kusama, then on Polkadot, and we finally launched Polkadot Parachain in June this year. So now the infrastructure is there, everything is ready. We have the most advanced NFT palettes, which we'll probably touch upon in more details later, but it's like nesting, refundable tokens, sponsorship of transaction fees. So we're working on the most advanced tools that are not currently available, like sponsorship in any other ecosystem. Mass adoption, so simplifying user experience, simplifying it for both developers and users. For users, via the sponsorship and fiat payments, and developers with SDKs, which is allowing easily to integrate for those who want to use Substrate native SDKs. We're also EVM compatible, so all existing marketplaces that support EVM can easily integrate Unique and join a vibrant Polkadot ecosystem. It's important to note that Polkadot went live, most of the Polkadot parachains went live in January 2022. So it's very new, it's very dynamic. Applications are just starting to launch. So I'm very, very excited for the launch of these ecosystems and for the coming years and see what advanced games, marketplaces, real estate solutions, other solutions will be coming to the ecosystem.
That's really cool. I'm also very excited, and especially because I understand that the whole world is going towards like be your own bank, be your own NFT marketplace, or have your own ecosystem. But at the end of the day, in the back end, there's a lot of interconnectivity going on with blockchain. But there's no reason why you shouldn't have kind of this white label infrastructure and decentralization through like you guys are doing through the Polkadot network, where the participants in the ecosystem are paying or are, I guess, not paying they're generating these transactions or they're facilitating these transactions so that in general, they're decentralized, but you can use these platforms to extract value from your creation. And that's why I'm super excited about what you guys are doing, because essentially you're enabling anybody to just start creating and start selling and not necessarily have to pay very expensive fees on OpenSea and other large marketplaces. If you have a community, just monetize it, right? It's all about community monetization at the end.
Well, creation and the ways in which community want to monetize their work, because it's really the best value of the Web3 space is to give power and ownership back to the user. And in our ecosystem, as you mentioned, we have interoperability, and the focus is really on being able to seamlessly communicate and exchange this value among other parachains. And parachains are, because people may not know what parachains are. Parachains are specific blockchains. So every blockchain can have its own use case. Even a game can be a parachain, or it can be an NFT parachain like ours, or it can be DeFi specific parachain like Akala, for example, or it can be just smart contracts blockchain like Moonbeam. So it can be like application specific or use case specific as well. And XCM, it's a format that allows parachains to communicate with each other in a very easy way. Also, we have forkless upgrades. So anytime some update comes in, you can easily upgrade your parachain. And what actually happened just yesterday, one of our parachains, identity parachains, killed. They upgraded forklessly from Kusama parachain to Polkadot parachain. So they were able to avoid going for crowd loan, but to upgrade their technology for next level sort of security and support parachain, which is Polkadot. Because the difference between Kusama and Kusama is sort of a test net in our ecosystem. It has real economy. It has a token. Most parachains, they have both Kusama testnet environment, which we call expect chaos. Startups can experiment there. Developers can launch new features, can test things, and then move everything to Polkadot, which is already a bit more stable environment. Upgrades come to Polkadot sort of slower, so you have more control over that environment. Also, Polkadot provides bank level security for transfers and payments. And you do not pay for that security because Polkadot kind of lends you that possibility as a parachain once you become a parachain.
Got it. So let's just recap, because some of the listeners here are not so blockchain savvy yet and more in real estate and tech. So parachain is almost like a parallel chain that you can launch on Polkadot, which can have its own coin, its own even validation rules, right? That you can set. You don't have to create your own blockchain ecosystem, blockchain infrastructure at the end, because Polkadot provides that, right? The whole technology and the security behind it.
Yeah, Polkadot is mainly relay chain. Core of Polkadot is security. So you cannot build an application on top of Polkadot. You can build an application on top of parachain like Unique Network, Akala, Moonbeam, etc. And then all parachains talk to each other, exchange value. So once you launch your application in the form of NFT on Unique as a marketplace, etc., you can easily connect to Akala for DeFi functionalities, stake your tokens there, access liquidity. You can launch on Moonbeam, access smart contracts, EVM chains, all this happens seamlessly via XCM channels. And we already integrated with Karura, which is Akala Kusama parachain. It's very complicated, so not going into the details, but
we can probably unpack that. And this is also somewhat new to me. I know about Polkadot and the way it's structured, but just in general, I think this conversation kind of underlines the interesting blockchain features that span beyond kind of tradability, what we usually see in our industry, like the real estate backed securities. We talk about tradability, we talk about ability to collateralize, and we talk about the ability to maybe combine several tokens into an index because of the inherent blockchain features of scalability and costs and ability to manage money and transactions where everything goes, right? Which is crucial. And that's why in trading and in real estate, these things are expensive and blockchain provides a lot of benefit. But then there's a lot of other blockchain benefits that we don't normally talk about at Solid Block and in our events and our webinars, because that's a little bit more blockchain 201 or 301 or even further, right? It's a graduate or a PhD degree. But in general, that's what we're talking about right now, is that when we are a part of this blockchain ecosystem, we're getting additional benefits. And the additional benefits from this conversation is different applications that are running on that same blockchain. So right now, Solid Block is mainly running on Ethereum, but we're adding a few other blockchains shortly. So here we have the Akala network, which is basically a stable coin of Polkadot. And then there's also, I understand, a DeFi platform and maybe a DEX of some sort, right? So you can all access all of that with being a part of this Polkadot system or parachain, I should say. And you guys are enabling, when you create your own NFT, basically an NFT is a contract, non-fungible token is a contract that allows you to sell your creation to somebody and somebody to benefit from it in some way. We'll talk about it shortly, what kind of NFTs you facilitate. But then when someone goes out and buys this NFT, now they have access to all of these additional services, and especially financial services that are running on the same parachain. And so that you can now maybe use it as a collateral for the stable coin in Polkadot, where you can push it into a different lending application and different applications that are running. Is that more or less accurate representation?
Absolutely. So there is Akala, there is HydroDX, there are many DeFi financial hubs, because as you correctly mentioned, Akala is a stable coin and is also a DEX, and it's also launching many more financial products in the ecosystem. And the cool feature that we've enabled is bundling. So about indexing and how to combine different elements. So now we can combine an NFT, which means an image or a certificate or a video, with a USDT, with a stable coin, Tether stable coin.
Why would you combine them, and how would you combine them?
Well, it's essentially a functionality where one address owns another address, because every NFT in our system is just an address. So you are able to create a bundle out of these different addresses. And also...
Okay, so it's not like a trading pair, it's more like a portfolio.
Yeah, it's a collection of different addresses that have different properties, because another interesting feature of our ecosystem is that NFTs in our chain, they're not smart contracts. So NFT is an address and has properties. Okay. So what you can play with is property. You can write down different properties of your NFT, and you can store an on-chain metadata, which is also difficult to do in Ethereum. So in Ethereum, you're often linked to a specific platform and you're locked into your smart contract. In our case, what we are trying to enable here is when NFT is an independent asset in itself. So what everybody's talking about, that you are able to take your NFT from one game to another game, from one platform to another platform, and this NFT contains all the essential information you need, has all the properties, and you are the owner, and this NFT is not locked in specific platform or specific contract. So this enables you to really inherit that NFT, for example, because right now, if you go to any platform, you need to log in with your wallet, you need to access that smart contract, and the platform, if it disappears, basically with the platform, you lose your asset most of the time. So it's not really exactly 100% Web3. So what we are trying to build in our ecosystem is really your full ownership and your ability to own your NFT, keep it in your wallet, and take it with you anywhere you go, and also pass it on to your children and grandchildren, so you really have the true ownership of your NFT. So we can really talk about, digitizing a painting, tokenizing it, and really having this ownership and all set of documents and rights in one single NFT, not just in a smart contract.
Okay, wow. So this is interesting. Why did you decouple it, and in general, but ownership, isn't that a contract as well? Like, do you not view ownership as a type of a contract?
Well, it depends on the platform, but what we're essentially trying to achieve is to have properties and to give you the possibility to store all the data you need, like signatures, agreements, in the NFT properties. Because even in terms of contracts, like right now, if you have, say, a certificate, right, it's still kind of an image that you store in IPFS. So it's not on-chain data. And we enabled on-chain metadata. So you can actually write properties and the contract conditions on-chain. So it really stays there forever. It does not depend on any cloud service, because it doesn't really make sense to, say that, okay, this is immutable, this is there forever, and then it's an IPFS. So you have a hash of a certificate, but you don't really know what's inside of that certificate unless you open an image. And we've seen many times how people can swap, they sell you an image of something, it has a price, but then they can replace an image in IPFS. And then at the end, you own a hashtag, you own the hash, but that hash does not describe what is in that image, what is the agreement. Wow. So the idea is to really document that data of ownership and the agreement and the contract conditions on chain.
That is really interesting. And also, I've been thinking about it while you were talking. In the real world, you have actually a separate thing. You have a purchase contract, and then you also have a registration event. And then you have essentially a contract with your government, usually, and where you pay them a small fee of, I don't know, $30 a year, or maybe just at the time of the recording, you pay them, and the rest is being paid through your taxes to keep that record for you. And when someone needs to pull it up, so that record is usually connected to the purchasing contract, and there is no coupling of the two. So maybe it makes sense. So if you think about your scenario, you are paying Polkadot fees for maintaining the record for you. And then there's a separate smart contract which delineates the price and the conditions of the sale, right? Or the rent.
Yeah, this makes total sense to link with the real world. And also, like from our perspective, we're a technology company, right? We build blockchain, we enable different features, but really the value, the business model, it comes from the business itself. So what we are looking for now is partnerships where the company, our business partner tells us, these are the features that I would like to see. This is what I need to link my real world use case, bring it on a blockchain so it makes sense. It really improves my customer's experience, experience in signing contract, et cetera, because this makes sense. From a technology point of view, we can now do many things, but what we need is the input from the business to create a business case. And it's always joint collaboration, joint brainstorming and work and defining that product, defining that business case.
Got it. Fantastic. So I saw recently you posted an article or Unique Network posted an article on CoinDesk. Get ready for 2022 metaverse real estate boom. It won't be confined to Ethereum. Can you highlight the most salient points from the article?
Well, maybe we spoke about the features that we've enabled, that it makes sense. Like everything was born on Ethereum. NFTs were born on Ethereum, CryptoKitties, crypto banks, et cetera. They gained a lot of value, but Ethereum has its constraints in terms of gas fees or sustainability or features like sponsorship, onboarding experience. So now we have fully functioning Polkadot ecosystem, and a lot of cool things are happening in our ecosystem, and new metaverses are being built, like Big Country, gaming, other metaverses that are EVM compatible, they're moving to Polkadot. And also in general, there is a boom in the virtual real estate, Decentraland, Roblox, other experiences. We've seen from governments like UAE government, South Korea, investing billions of dollars into metaverse development. Recently, I found an article of Emirates Airlines training their staff in the metaverse. So they will do onboarding, HR, training via the metaverse, a virtual experience. So metaverse is becoming a part of many countries' strategic plan, smart cities development plan. South Korea, the same. They just had a blockchain week. They committed billions of dollars to develop metaverse, to uncover new opportunities for businesses, to create jobs. And in my article, I spoke about Snoop Dogg acquiring a property in the metaverse. And this is something that, attracted a lot of people, a lot of attention, because now you can be a neighbor of a celebrity. You can buy land, or you can come to somebody's party and hang out with, people with whom you wouldn't normally be able to meet in the real life, because you would have to take a flight or come to an event. And now you can access it and you can create collaborations in this virtual space, and you have the opportunity to be among the first people, the pioneers of the metaverse, who can be people like Snoop Dogg, and there are many more. This article was written a couple of months ago, and things develop so fast that there is new businesses, new companies coming in the space, like Coca-Cola moved in the metaverse. Sotheby's now has an office in real estate, in the virtual office in Decentraland, I think. So there's plenty of opportunities to discover. Also, Zaha Hadid Architects, for example, is moving to the metaverse. They are architects, especially young ones. They come in, experiment, because in most architectural studios, because I'm an architect myself, I have that background, what you do most of the time, you create 3D designs. And most of these designs are conceptual. So there are lots of architectural competitions, and the outcome of these competitions, they don't get built. So it's an experimental thing. And most of the time, you don't show it to anybody. because you keep it in your studio, you maybe participate in a competition, you spend a lot of resources, a lot of time creating that design, but it kind of stays there somewhere in the archives in the hopes that maybe one day we can pull it out again, we can build it again, etc. But now with the metaverse, you can actually have a lot of demand for unusual buildings, unusual designs. And as an architect, for architects, it's a fantastic place to experiment and to show their creativity. And you don't have to pay real money to build a real construction. And you can still show it to people and you can still have activities in that metaverse. And there's a lot of demand for creative people, for artists, for graphic designers to help build these virtual worlds and experiences and make them real, make them entertaining, because currently if you look at like Roblox and Decentraland, it's still at a very sort of 1.0 level in terms of graphics and interaction of what you can do. So the more we have hardware companies, motion designers, like other designers coming in the space, this experience will evolve. It will have many applications like renting real estate for commercial purposes, selling real estate to clients, and creating virtual tours where you can view your real estate, where you can experience the house that you want to buy or rent. With like pandemic and all these lockdowns, lots of companies began trying these new tools, and many kept using these practices even now when the world opened up and people began traveling again and having events and getting together, because it really works and it really saves you a lot of money and a lot of time.
Gotcha. All right. That sounds awesome. Sounds right up our alley. We should definitely talk about this maybe on another podcast, just about kind of the metaverse and the rise of digital real estate and what we can do with it.
Certainly. A lot of material.
Yeah. So you mentioned you're an architect by trade. Can you give me a little bit more about your background and also how you came to this space?
Sure. So, as I mentioned, I studied architecture. I began my career in Urban Planning Institute. I worked with several renowned architectural studios. Like in Rome, we worked on Jumeirah Hotel in Via Veneto, a couple of luxury private houses, hotels. I got a degree, also master degree in urban planning policy design in Milan, worked with several design and architectural companies, and then moved into management consulting. So I have experience both in business, luxury, real estate. Then I moved to London in 2016, also worked with luxury, but was looking at more sort of other opportunities. Prop tech attracted my attention because also my thesis and my interest was always in technology, like how data can uncover different opportunities in the urban tissue, what can be improved in the smart cities. And in April, sort of around lockdown, we were looking at different use cases and different opportunities with the consulting company I used to work for in Milan. We discovered that there is a lot going on in tokenization, got a couple of requests to look at the different use cases. So I began diving into the space, got really captivated by all the opportunities that blockchain brings. And then I came across Polkadot via Robonomics project that is working with Internet of Things, smart cities. I joined as an ambassador and sort of from then on connected with everybody in the space. Those were early days, the launch of Polkadot. So I was able to meet all the founders of like Akala, Unique Network. Via this program, I also met the founder of Unique, Alexander Mitrovic. So we began exchanging ideas on what are the opportunities of NFTs. And early on, it was really actually clear that NFTs will become very valuable and important in the real estate space because they give their unique assets, and each real estate unit is a unique asset as well as art. And there is so much that NFT space allows you to develop. So you don't have to kind of focus on one thing. It's like a perfect bridge between technology, real world, art world. So it's very creative. It's very advanced. It's very fast-paced environment. So it's really something that I found a passion for. And now we're building full speed, working with lots of startups, lots of companies, and it's a really fascinating space.
Amazing. I'm so excited about what you guys are doing, and we should definitely get on another podcast. But I just wanted to ask you before we wrap up, like, is there something else that you would like to cover, or like a message for the audience, where the audience can find you? Who are your customers? How can they sign up?
Sure. So we work with enterprise, with startups. We work with any company that wants to discover the opportunities of NFTs for business. Because as I mentioned, NFT can be anything. It represents a unique asset, can be real estate, can be art, can be music, can be any type of certificate, education, concert ticket. We mainly work with strategic partners. We're B2B companies, so we work with platforms. I mean, you can have a look at one of our super famous marketplaces, Digital Art for Climate, in collaboration with UN Habitat. We're doing a lot in the environmental sustainability field, going to COP27 with the pavilion and an art exhibition. So very welcome collaborations on carbon credits, digital art, sustainability. We also work, you can have a look at lemonade.social. They do POAPs. We're going to be doing an event with Coin Bureau on the 12th of October for Future Summit in Dubai. So also a UNESCO event at the end of November with Lemonade. They will be providing POAPs, and they've developed like really cool experience for onboarding non-crypto people. So you don't need a wallet, no crypto gymnastics, don't need to get into private keys, like complicated procedures. It's done fairly seamlessly. And yeah, we work with really different use cases because it really depends how your business want to approach this. We have really cool solutions for e-commerce, loyalty programs. So all sorts and type of use cases. Gaming is also something that's kind of entering the space more and more, uncovering benefits of using blockchain for gaming with the speed of transactions that we offer, with sponsorship of transaction fees, scheduling, and all the cool features. You can find me on LinkedIn, send me a message, any questions. We have developers support channel, all other support. We have a team of more than 50 people now helping with different aspects of consulting on the blockchain, your product proposition, business cases. So very, very open to collaborating with exciting, advanced, sustainable NFT use cases.
Very, very cool. I am looking forward to hearing about all your successes, and we'll keep updating each other. And we'll find ways to collaborate as well. We've been looking for that for a while. So I think this month is the month where we'll figure it out.
Absolutely. We'll be very excited to work with Solid Block, and we've been keeping an eye on your updates, and yeah, very much looking forward to support real estate projects.
Very cool. So thank you for joining me on the BlockSolid podcast today. And you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or by visiting the website at solidblock.co/podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to rate and review, spread the word. And you can find Unique at unique.network, right?
Thank you, Yael.